Cruickshank, and you're listening to my interview on the sports blog.
Yo guys, what's going on? My name is Justin Godsey, the owner and operator of the nationsportsblog.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a special interview, the first interview of the new year. We got UFC Lightweight fighter Daron Cruickshank. Daron, what's going on, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Now, UFC is a huge sport. Now, Daron, you're an up-and-coming UFC fighter. You just had your fight off with Michael Martinez. Why do you think it's important to connect with the MMA community? I know the MMA community is huge in Canada, huge in the United States, also huge in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now, how do you connect with your fans with such a huge fan base?
Well, I try to give as much time as possible on Twitter and Facebook. Trying to just talk to people. I mean, if I was in the street and someone said hello to me, I would say hi back. That's just how it is, and that's how I see it on Twitter and Facebook. Some fighters don't try to respond to their followers, and I think that's I try to do as much as possible. I just people respect me and I respect them back. So
Now, you have a Twitter account. Where can we follow you on Twitter?
at Cruickshank155.
I'll leave also his Facebook page and Twitter pages right down below in the comment section below, so make sure you guys go out and like the Facebook page and go out and follow him on Twitter. Now, tell us how you got into mixed martial arts.
I started doing mixed martial arts when I was younger, actually. Both my parents did martial arts, so I got in it then. They both had schools and, fought professionally. Not mixed martial arts, but kickboxing and boxing. And then I started wrestling in 8th grade. That's when I basically started my wrestling career. And I wrestled all through high school and college. And then shortly after my last wrestling tournament, about a month after, I took my first MMA fight. It was an amateur fight, and I've been doing it ever since.
Who was your biggest influence growing up as a kid?
As far as MMA fighters, I would say, I was a big fan of Matt Hughes when he was, doing his world championship era where he went a ton of fights undefeated, beat GSP, all those guys. That's really what I looked up to is Matt Hughes is dominant.
You grew up in Westland, Michigan. What was your high school wrestling experience like?
That's really where I learned my work ethic. I went to Westland John Glenn, and Bill Polk was my head wrestling coach. He really instilled hard work and determination in me, and that it carried me all the way to here.
From high school, you went to Olivet College and wrestled at their college. What was your college wrestling experience like?
I actually wrestled at a junior college right after high school for 2 years, Muskegon Community College, and then I transferred to Olivet. And my Olivet coach, he's actually he has a master's degree in sports psychology, and I actually learned a lot of things just on the psychology part of sports from him. Not necessarily, it's great to learn how to wrestle and compete, but the most valuable things I learned from him, his name is Coach Hibbs, was the mental side of athletics.
Now, after your college wrestling career, did you have any plans of becoming a professional wrestler or a fighter?
Oh, yeah, I knew, actually, when I transferred to Olivet, from Muskegon, after Muskegon, I was going to just start fighting, just get into mixed martial arts and start fighting, and Coach Hibbs actually recruited me to Olivet, and like I said, he's a sports psychologist, and he, basically, convinced me to keep wrestling and go for that career first, and all, and I'm glad I did.
You got your first amateur fight against Todd Grisham at XCC 11 Duel in Downriver 2, and from there on you went on to face two more opponents in which you knocked out. From there you went on to you went to your pro career and signed with the King of the Cage promotion. How excited were you to turn pro?
In Michigan, these guys are getting 30, 40 amateur fights, and being that I have a family that was in combative sports, they're like, you don't need that many amateur fights. These promoters are making money off these guys. you need a couple fights for strength and then jump into it. And that's how it is, in other states. But in Michigan, guys are not getting, they're not getting paid, and which is tricky. But so I had the support system. I had the people that tell me like, hey, you need to time for you to go, and I was excited to start my career, but I wasn't happy just no matter what I do, everything from as my amateur fight up into getting my senior cage contract, fighting for other promotions, fighting for ringside title against Mike Ricci, all that stuff was given to the UFC, and that's where I want to be, and that's the ultimate goal. Now since I made it, what's next for me is I want to eventually, maybe a year, 2 years down the road, after I climb the ladder a little more, be a UFC world champion.
Now, in 2010 and 2011, you fought all around the United States, and including Canada, picking up victories against, like you said, Mike Ricci and Jesse Gross. Did you feel at that point it was just a matter of time to like Strikeforce, UFC, or Bellator would be calling you?
Yeah, actually, it happened really fast. The last year was a huge year for me. Fight after fight, I put the time in, I worked hard, and that's what got me to UFC. And the thing is when I fight, I try to be the most exciting person I can be. Go out there, put on a show. I know it's a secular sport, and without the fans wanting to see me fight, you're not going to be fighting. You could win every fight and not be exciting, and no one wants to see you. And that's the thing is I was exciting, and that's what got me there.
On July 12, 2011, you signed with Bellator Fighting Championships to appear on their Summer Series card against Sergey Jusovic, but at the last second, the match was actually cut. Do you know exactly what happened, and how did you get noticed of that was not going to happen?
I was actually in my hotel room about 3 hours before I was supposed to be at the arena, and I get a call from Bellator and say, the fight was cut. Well, they told me that the reason why they had to pull the fight is because my opponent actually forged some of his medical paperwork, signed as a doctor, signed his own signature and all that, and they didn't really tell me the reason why he did it. That he was not going to pass the test, or he just didn't have time to take them, whatever it was. But that's why they had to pull the fight.
From Bellator, UFC called you up for a Ultimate Fighter tryout. Who did you face, and can you tell us about the bout?
The tryout, I actually didn't get a call. I actually wasn't even going to go to the tryout because I didn't have the money to fly out to Vegas, do all the tryouts, get a room, da-da-da-da. But I got a short notice fight against Jesse Gross about a week before the tryout. So I actually took the fight on Saturday. I fought him. That Sunday, I flew out to Vegas. Monday I tried out, and then Tuesday I flew back. But without that short, I had 1 week notice to that fight. I wouldn't have gone out. As soon as I got the call to fight Jesse Gross, I called my manager and said, "Hey, book me a fight to Las Vegas. I'm trying out for the Ultimate Fighter." And that's how it went. I went in, I fought Jesse Gross, I knocked him out in the first round. No scratches, no shots. And then about the next day, it kind of worked out perfect.
It worked out perfect for you because you made the Ultimate Fighter live card with the live event, which featured Uriah Faber, bantamweight fighter, as well as the UFC bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz as the coaches. Now you were chosen by Uriah Faber. What did Uriah Faber teach you during their time on the show?
The biggest thing that I learned from Uriah, not necessarily technical wise, but his positive attitude and his positive outlook on everything, life in general. Like, that guy is the most positive thinker I've ever met. And that's the biggest thing that I took from Uriah Faber.
Now, when you think of the Ultimate Fighter, well, on a fan's perspective, you think of, the great action that you see the great comedy. Now, in the house, what was some of your favorite memories that you have?
As far as the house, I love being in there, and like a lot of guys wanted to get out, wanted to contact their relatives, wanted to just see what was going on in the world, and that was the biggest thing that they wanted was, and what I liked about it, there was no stressors. You didn't have to think about what was going on in the world. You didn't have to worry about bills or anything like that, girl problems, whatever. It was all you had to do was worry about training and fighting and sleeping, I guess you say. That's it was perfect. I loved being there. If they would bring me back, I almost got kind of institutionalized in the house because I was so used to them telling us when we're going to train, when we're going to relax, bringing us food every day. Like they, if you needed something, you just call this special phone and boom, they're like, okay, we'll bring it to you. Da da da. And not being able to drive, no music, things like that. It really changes you as a person. And it's almost I feel like almost being kind of in prison, like because they have complete control, and you kind of have to let them take over and just worry about yourself.
Well, it sounded like hell at the time for you, but it all worked out pretty good for you because at the TUF final you defeated Chris Tickle. I mean, you went the distance with him. You controlled the whole match throughout the bout over the next 3 rounds, and you won via unanimous decision. Now, after the bout, you officially began your official fighting career with the UFC. How excited were you to officially be a part of the UFC roster?
Oh, it's a dream come true, and being that I won my fight, in the future I get another fight. Boom, I fight Henry Martinez, and I ended up knocking him out in the 2nd round. And to me, it means a future for me and my family, and that I can provide for everybody. Fighting is a means of making money for me, and and being that I'm in the UFC, I'm in the best place to be. It's like I have a real job. We have medical insurance. It's crazy. It's very insightful.
This past December, you faced off against Henry Martinez in your first bout in the UFC. Other than the Ultimate Fighter, you were on the UFC on Fox Henderson versus Diaz bout on December 8th, where you fought Henry Martinez, in which I said personally before we did this interview that it was, to me, fight of the night and knockout of the night. You kicked him right in the side of the head, and you got the head kick, which did him in. Now, when you look at the UFC lightweight division, I mean, you have a great division full of stars, and when you look at it, you got like Edson Barboza, Donald Cerrone, Nate Diaz, Guida, and Gray Maynard. Who do you want to face next? Like, who's next on your list to fight?
I don't choose who I get to fight. They do. They're going to match me up with someone that I'm going to be able to put a show on for, and that's what's important. They know that I'm going to come out to fight every single time, and they're going to match me up with somebody that's going to do the same exact thing. But I'm not going to put on a boring show. When I go out there, I try to make it exciting. I'm currently trying to get on a couple cards right now. Possibly February, March, I should be fighting again. I'm going to work my hardest to get on one of those and perform.
It is now 2013. What are we to expect out of you in 2013? And do you expect to be very active in 2013?
Well, as far as active, I have a lot of student loans to pay off, so I want to be as active as I can. Got to make that money, and I don't have any injuries. I'm ready to go. My weight is good. My training's hard. If they need to throw me in a short notice fight, I am definitely willing to jump in.
Dana White, you better put Daron Cruickshank on a card soon because this guy's ready to fight. Now, for the final question, what advice can you give to aspiring MMA fighters who are wanting to make pro?
The biggest thing is definitely believe in yourself, work hard, and the most important part is to have fun at it. If you're not having fun, it might not be the sport for you. So, you got to have fun at what you do.
Alright, everybody, this is Daron Cruickshank, the Detroit superstar, black belt in Taekwondo, welterweight fighter, lightweight fighter of the UFC. Daron, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy workout schedule to come on the show, man. You're a great superstar.
Thanks, guys, and anytime you want to have me on, just hit me up. And let me thank my Facebook and Twitter followers. Without you guys, I wouldn't have the support system that I needed. So,
would you like to give a shout out to any family members out there?
Thank Thanks, Mama.
All right, Daron, thank you so much for coming on, man.
All right, guys.